So today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
It's an introduction to these conversations that we are thinking of having, because as we all know, artificial intelligence is a big thing now. It's being considered a big thing now,
Yeah.
even though it has been in existence for so long.
Yeah.
So if we start a conversation around it, then we shall be in a position to assess,
Yeah.
is it that big? Should we be worried? Or should we celebrate that we now have this advancement in technology? I think today we shall just focus on the basics and the background of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So they say we first need to understand where we're coming from, where we are, so that we can define and know where we're headed to.
Exactly.
As I've said, should we be worried about artificial intelligence? Is it going to replace every one of us at our workplaces?
Yeah.
And in the nature of human beings, they are meant to work.
Yeah.
Even those who believe in the Bible, God
Working
said,
is very important.
God said you must work
for you to be
for you to eat.
Yeah.
And God was so specific.
Yeah.
Someone who does not work should not
eat. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, then we need to know if artificial intelligence is working on our behalf. If I just need to sit down and do nothing, and this machine is working for me, what does that mean for me?
Actually, yeah, AI is a very interesting thing right now. It has become very interesting because of what you are seeing now. Yeah, whatever has become mainstream out of AI, and it's something that is very unusual and very unexpected. Yeah, we never imagined that there is going to be a time in our lifetime. Okay, maybe we had some imaginations, but we never knew it's going to be a reality, that you're going to have machines that can speak to us, can talk to us, can understand what you're saying. So this is a very big revolution, or a very huge change in the entire world, and it's something that is becoming very, very interesting. And now we are in the quest to know what are the implications of this new technology. What is it per se? So the reason why, that's why we started this conversation, because you see, in the sub-Saharan Africa, we have been always like the last people to be in a race.
We are the consumers.
We are the consumers.
We are the consumers of technology. If anything new is invented,
we're just there to consume
in fact, they say the African continent, or the sub-Saharan region, they consume more than even those who produce.
Yeah.
So that would sound like we're just waiting for the new thing that will come out of AI and start using it, but we're not participating in the process of developing or producing that the respective thing that need to be done in AI.
That's true, by the way, because you see, like right now, there is no place in Africa where you can go and find a very huge organization which has set up a facility that is invested in creating these very powerful algorithms or models that are driving the AI technology in the world. So we're just here to consume what is being done in the US and in China, in Europe.
Asia is playing a big role in the AI, let's call it industry, or the AI space, because most of the big brands that are either developing AI tools or just having those technology that facilitating development of AI, either their CEOs or the brands themselves have some origins in the Asian continent.
Exactly.
That's quite interesting.
Especially India.
India, they are so quick and they have the best tutorials online. We're promoting them, but they are the best anyway. We can't argue against that. So it's, for instance, recently I learned that we have some few centers in Europe. We call them AI centers. They're kind of doing intensive research in AI, And it's good to know that people are doing this, because as we all know, AI is going to affect humanity in a big way, or
Yeah.
it's already affecting humanity in a big way.
True.
So if you have an AI center, or let's call it an innovation center, where people are coming together, researching on ideas, governments are investing in the research process, then we have a multidimensional approach to this innovation, which can, let's say, at some point become a problem to humanity. But it's sad that in our continent we're still behind. We are not even sure of what an innovation center in AI will look like.
Yeah.
Maybe there is one out there that we are not aware of. People can come and criticize
Exactly.
us that you yet to see us, yet you're talking about that.
Kindly let us know.
Let us know if there is a if there is
Yeah.
an AI center in the sub-Saharan region.
Yeah.
We will be happy to partner with you in the research process, because we are data scientists.
Exactly.
And we know we can play a part in this.
Exactly.
Or at least we have resources that we
Yeah.
can participate in the development process.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about the origin of AI. It's just in the 21st century, and specifically between 2010 to present, when we're starting to worry so much about AI. Is it really, have we just founded AI, or it's been there all along?
Even before you go to the history of AI, or just giving us an introduction of about AI,
Yeah.
we haven't introduced ourselves.
I think that was supposed to be the first thing.
That should be the first thing for us to do.
That was supposed to be the first
Exactly,
thing. So let's
exactly.
start with you. Maybe you can introduce yourself to our
okay.
audience, then
Yes.
we see how to proceed.
Okay, so my name is Amos Maranga Atima. I am a, let's say, data scientist, data analyst. You can name it, but I'm more of a data analyst than a scientist. But I'm gravitating towards becoming a data scientist. Yeah, so I have a background in statistics. I did my bachelor's in KU between the year 2012 and 2016. That's when I completed my bachelor's in statistics and programming. Then afterward, I was privileged to join Nairobi University to pursue my master's, where I pursued a course in social statistics, which I'm currently on in the last bits of finalizing with that particular course, and I'm looking forward to start my career in data science. Because since I finished my undergraduate, I've been exposed to a lot of data science materials. I've been studying so much about the machine learning techniques, and how they can be harnessed to be able to give predictions about real life situations, which can be beneficial in different fields, such as medicine and academia. So currently, I'm very much invested in understanding the origins and the origins, the dynamics, the building blocks of artificial intelligence, and I'm hoping to be one of the major contributors, or just a contributor. Let me be humble, a contributor in this field, which is currently being very much focused on, and is probably going to play a very huge role in our lives in future. So I hope I'll be of benefit to you through our discussions and sharing of our knowledge. I hope this knowledge is going to be of benefit to you, so that at least all of us will be in the same boat. We really pray that our continent is not left behind in this very, very important discussion about artificial intelligence. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Amos.
Yeah.
We've worked with Amos for quite some time. We got to know each other way back in 2012, when we were just joining campus at Kenyan University.
Mugenda.
When the famous, powerful lady, Olive Mugenda, she has published a few journal articles, so you can check her out. She was our vice chancellor, and when we were just starting off in the first year and statistics learning, or rather going through the basic mathematics, probability, probability and statistics, now programming languages, C++, Pascal,
R.
R language.
Yeah.
Someone was just mentioning about Python, even though we never knew about what Python was.
Yeah.
But with time, we've come to immerse ourselves in this field, and it really feels so good.
Yeah.
Because we understand it's one of those fields that are playing part in the innovation and in the development of AI.
Yeah.
So myself, Elias Muhatia Shamala. I am also a data scientist. Developed this into this field from basic understanding of what is data analysis. With the background in statistics, it was easy to venture in to start accessing resources and reading so much about let's say the data science tools. If you want to talk about Python, cloud computing, and then beyond that, I did machine learning, and that is foundation of data science, and particularly focusing on machine learning and statistics. That was a course provided by Great Learning. It's a good one. I will recommend people to check it out. Great Learning, they are partnering with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. You can check it out. It has some cost to it, but it's really a good one. I have also ventured into deep learning, which I think it's a path to AI. Being someone who don't just read and hear about AI, but participating in the development process of AI tools. So currently, I'm reading a lot about deep learning, and I hope with time we shall be able to let's say write an article, research a scholarly article on the same, because we are scholars.
Sure.
Currently, I work as a data analyst, consult, as well as I'm an expert in project monitoring and evaluation. Just finishing up my master's on the same. But I'm also looking forward to do a second master's in data science, or maybe just pursue a course in the same, so that we just don't hear about this, but really participate in the entire process. We don't want to be left behind this time round.
That's for sure.
And as we've mentioned before, if there is any AI innovation center, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, would like to reach out and see what we can do together. There is much we can do together than say we have the monopoly of knowledge in this field. It's so wide.
True.
Yeah. So maybe we can start our conversation. We shall try to be brief. This being our first meeting, rather our first conversation. We look forward to discussing a lot. And we shall try our best to make the conversation as easy as possible, because when you're talking about AI, it might look like this is for serious guys, people who only know mathematics and nothing else. We joke a lot. Sometimes we laugh at everything. So we shall try to make it as easy and as simple and as fun as possible, so that people can start to understand what really this is.
Exactly.
So we have a series of conversations that we shall be having in the subsequent weeks. We're just starting off with, let's say, the introduction or the background of AI. Beyond that, we shall go into where are we in AI, and how does the future look like. If you read so much literature, you realize people have assumptions of how the future of AI will be. People are saying every human being will be replaced at workplace, but is that really true? We shall look into it. Some big guys in this space, like Elon Musk, have already suggested having a universal income. They call it universal income, because no one will be working. Therefore, we should just be sitting in our houses or
receiving money
every month. We don't know how that looks like.
For being a human.
Yeah, you paid for sitting around. We don't know how that model will work like.
Yeah.
And there are already theories that when people are doing research, some tests on Africans,
Or like WorldCoin.
or like was it WorldCoin or WildCoin?
WorldCoin.
WorldCoin. So
Yeah.
when someone was doing WorldCoin experiments on some Africans and giving them, how much was it?
7,000 shillings.
So that is like 70,
Like
approximately
$40.
approximately $40-50.
Yeah.
To take your
To sign up.
to sign up for the program.
Yeah.
Your eye color and I don't know what is taken.
I don't know, fingerprints.
Fingerprints. So
Yeah,
it's
something like that.
very important data,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
People took it jokingly, but it's very important data when you are really in this space. You get
Yeah.
to understand it. Someone should just not come and take your it's called biodata.
Yeah, biometrics.
Biometrics.
Yeah, so sometimes we need to be aware of what we are giving out.
Yeah.
Because these big companies usually they are out there to harvest our data.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we need to be very, very careful.
Yeah, so when you're signing up on programs on your social media, on different platforms, social platforms, or just internet platforms you access, you need to be aware of what you are agreeing to, not just clicking and then moving forward.
Exactly.
So what are we even talking about before we came to biometrics?
Let me timer.
Stop. Cut. I think we officially start our conversation. Before we went on a brief break, we were saying if there is any innovation center in Africa or an AI center, let's be specific, we would be happy to partner and participate collectively in this process. So that we can be the source of information and insights, let's say, to our governments. It's scary that the government, particularly our governments, are still lagging behind. We don't know what that will mean.
It's very scary. It's very scary because you see, like, for those ones who have been able to interact with this AI, I think you've seen the capabilities of this technology.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a joke. And as Elias had mentioned earlier, the biggest fear that most people are having right now regarding AI is that there's a potential that this technology is going to take a lot of jobs. And leading us to what he was mentioning about universal income. So if that's the threat which you are facing right now, where we are going to be replaced by machines, it might not be like a very immediate replacement. It might take time, but the thing is, this is something that is going to be there. At one point in time, we are going to have machines that can be able to do very advanced types of jobs, such as let's say like data analysis, coding, preparing codes for programs. So we need, as a nation or as a continent, mostly the sub-Saharan Africa, we need to have a very, very keen interest in this technology. We need to be there, because one thing that I've come to realize about history, the recent history, is most of the things have been happening in the West, and then we are just adopting them.
We talk of 5G.
5G, the big countries.
No,
the 5G internet.
5G internet, yeah.
Even that one is very recent. Because let me give you an instance, like something like computers. Computers were developed in the West.
Yeah.
And now it's us we are doubting.
Yeah.
We did not contribute to the development of these devices.
Yeah.
But now we are using them. And there's no workplace where you can go and miss a computer which is being used. Even cars.
Let's make this simple a little bit, because if you start to talk about moving it's
automotive.
The self-driving cars, which we are talking at a high level. Let's just break this into something simpler. Currently we have this thing called ChatGPT. It's been advancing really rapidly. And it's simple to look at it like ChatGPT is doing everything. And when we are saying it's scary that our governments are not talking about this or doing anything, then what we're saying is students in universities, they're not doing the assignments because you can copy paste a question into
ChatGPT, Bard,
and or any other AI tool that exists, and you have a 4,000 essay, a 4,000 page essay in seconds.
Yeah.
And lecturers who mark these hard copy papers,
they cannot check for plagiarism or for AI detection.
So they don't have time to check for those plagiarism. And what we are now facing is students who write very nice essays, but they know no content in those papers.
Exactly.
And the lecturers, those who are old enough, they also don't have the time to research into what is this and how are they affecting the performance or the student life.
Yeah, even a lecturer can end up believing that all his or her students are bright,
are clever,
are very smart, they're understanding everything.
But that's not the case.
But that's not the case. They're just using ChatGPT.
I don't know if we should worry, although we are going to talk about this in detail in the subsequent videos about the effect of AI on the entire humanity. From different perspectives. If you want to talk about student life, if you want to talk about personalities, workplace, the well-being, let's say even in health centers, AI is there is so much research into AI and the medical field. Anything you want to talk about, AI maybe will be used as a tutor, so you will not need a physical teacher, but you'll just need a machine to give you very accurate content. So we're going to talk about all these in subsequent videos. But now, what will that imply for when you're talking about AI will be able to do almost everything? What will that imply for humanity? We say people derive meaning from working. They're going to be affected. So we shall delve into it. For now, let's see if we can break down a little bit. Where did this AI come from?
I think it's good that at least we try to lay a foundation and understand the journey that AI has taken since its inception in the early 90s. So just to let everyone know, we're not saying that AI is a bad thing. We're not saying that it's a bad thing. But what you're saying, this one is a very important technology. It's very, very important technology which needs to be taken seriously. We should not play around, just moving around doing some other things and just neglecting the fact that AI is becoming part of our lives. So we should be aware of this AI, and that's why we are making this podcast, so that at least we can make people aware of this technology, which is coming very, very, very strongly.
To emphasize on that, they say we don't necessarily need to be scared of AI, because just as we've been innovating, I mean, since evolution, or since we were made
industrial evolution,
since evolution of human beings, or since, if you believe in the Bible or God, since we were created, human beings have always been innovating. I mean, the best example we're talking of the video is the invention of fire.
Very, very important.
Human beings came up with fire. You think about it deeply, you realize, wow.
Actually, they didn't come up with fire. They were able to understand the physics of creating and managing fire.
Because as we all know, fire is a good thing you can use to cook, but it can burn you. That's also what is in hell.
That's what we expect to find.
That's what we're expecting to find in hell, so that we can all be burned if we're sinners. But anyway, the invention of fire itself, that was a big innovation,
a big turning point.
And people have been working alongside it. So it's either a dangerous thing it can burn you, it can burn your property, or you can use it to cook.
Yeah, exactly.
For energy. For those who experience winter, I know without fire, you don't know how you guys will be surviving. In Africa, at least we rely on the natural fire, the sun. So what we're trying to say is all along the human history, people have been inventing. So this is why we're saying it is a new invention, and AI, I don't think is the last thing that is going to happen in human innovation.
Yeah.
There's going to be more. Beyond AI, perhaps we're going to see more.
True.
Because people keep evolving and technology keep evolving.
True.
When ATMs came and you were scared,
Tellers will be laid off.
Tellers will be laid off.
Yeah, though we are heading there.
Some tellers were.
It's a slow process.
I think tellers were laid off. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But with this advancement in technology, there is new jobs that are created.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
now these tellers have to find something else that they do, maybe even efficiently, and make more money.
The only setback is is for those tellers who are already employed. They had let's say like if that was a profession.
Yeah.
They had taken so much time, invested an amount of their time and resources to prepare themselves to be tellers.
Exactly.
And then now all that skills, all that experience was just useless. That's the only setback. But the thing is, as humans, we're supposed to be dynamic.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be able to learn new skills whenever change comes.
I would say it in a different way.
Yeah.
Human beings are dynamic.
Exactly.
They are not supposed to be, but they are.
They are. It's our
because
nature.
when you find a challenge, you always try to look for a solution.
Exactly.
If we take a good example is AI currently, we have chatbots. So what does that imply for customer care or people who are in customer care at the front desk? What happens to them? But we know something, they will find something eventually.
Exactly.
So we were just talking about the foundation of AI.
Yeah. So in this podcast, we're going to try our best to try and lay a foundation and just give our audience some bit of our understanding of how AI evolved. So also I would like to let you know that it might not be very accurate what we're telling you, but at least we're going to give you an idea of how things went down.
I think when you say it will not be so accurate, that might be misleading. There is so much literature on different platforms, both scholarly and just those who are publishing blogs about AI. So there are those who believe AI just started in 2010.
That's the thing.
There are others who believe AI started it way back in 1950. And in fact, the first conference on AI, I think it was done in 1955. Now, that's not the end. We have those who've written that AI started in early 1900s. And that's not all. We still have literature that says a friend to Plato, the famous philosopher, was among the first people to build a machine that could work on their own. It was called automaton. So it dates back, some people trace it back to 400 BC or 800 BC. So that means it's
even I was hearing somebody else argue that even in the Greek mythology, you can say that the idea, that perception or the idea of humans creating something that can work on its own was already there, because they had this sort of like tools and equipment which could have like a life of their own. So this idea of humanizing or making inanimate objects do something that is not to animate those objects is also an idea of artificial intelligence.
For those who are religious enough, maybe maybe this part of procreation. When God told Adam, go and procreate and multiply.
We have multiplied.
Maybe this was part of it.
Something else.
We don't need to be scared. but as human beings, it's in our DNA that we need to be scared of something that is likely to take us off the planet. Because since the time we were living in the forest, it's called survival for the fittest. You always on alert to see that.
And you're assuming we lived in the forest.
maybe in caves. Yeah, assuming now it was in the caves, but the dynamics of caves and forests, I think they are the same.
Yeah.
But I have to assume we were living. I'm 95% confident that we were living in forests, caves which were in the forest because it's just reason that we've been cutting down trees so much, trying to create space for our own habitat, and this now characterizes what we are calling climate change. But that's another conversation on the side. And maybe when we're moving forward, we should be talking of how can AI help us address or mitigate climate change and other related factors. So we shall at some point delve deeper into the origin of AI.
Actually, we can do it right now.
Can we start now?
We can start right now.
Maybe now you can say what I know. We might be accessing different literature.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that it cannot be completely accurate, because you know this is something that people have different let's say like historical records on how this AI started.
Despite that, I think we can all agree that the term itself, artificial intelligence, was first coined in 1955. So at least we can agree to that level.
That one is we have a consensus there.
But before 1955, people were trying to do so much.
Actually, before 1955, they actually, what I can regard like the first person to materialize this idea by making it something that is researchable, something that people can study, focus their energy and study, was a guy called Alan Turing. Alan Turing, and for him, the first paper he wrote about this, the first thing that I think it was, I don't know if it was a doctoral dissertation. It was in 1950. So it was 5 years before the conference. That we mentioned. But you see, that is when this thing was, this AI thing was now coming into reality. Like now we are incorporating it now into the academic world. Because before then, the idea was there, but it was mostly in movies. So when they're producing some movies, they did produce some movies where we had some what they used to call thinking machines. Thinking machines which portrayed some sort of inanimate objects, let's say like robots, which can speak, can express themselves, can have a conversation with a human being. So this idea was already there earlier, but it was not in the academic field. It was something that it's just sort of like a science fiction thing.
But the fact that people are thinking about it and putting them in the movies, I think that speaks a lot.
It was incredible.
Because actually they say artists, people in the artistic space, they kind of create a reality out of the future.
Exactly.
So if it was being put in the movies, then that sounds like those artists were already looking into the future.
Exactly.
So we would say it was being conceptualized. In whichever way, as we've said way back, the friend to Plato was made a machine, automaton, that could work independent of human being. This sounds to me like all along human beings have been trying to conceptualize an idea of another entity working, not necessarily human beings, or another entity working as human beings,
creating another entity that can work for them.
And then now I know part of the fear that we have is, are we likely to create machines that are going to be smarter than us?
But that's in the future. That's in the future. But now you see, in the past, now this is how this idea started to materialize. So Alan Turing was the guy who really made it material. And I believe he's still he developed a test called the Turing test, the one which we use to test to see if we can classify some computer programs as artificially intelligent. So and I believe that test is being used until today to test this AI technology which you're trying to develop, and say that this one here seems to be an intelligent program or something. So he was the guy who we can attribute this idea of AI to. So in the conference which you mentioned in 1955, yeah, the organizer of that conference, I believe, was called McCarthy.
McCarthy, I've read about McCarthy.
Yeah. So McCarthy was the first person to come up with the word artificial intelligence. Yeah, so he's the first person who came up with that term. And the reason why he organized that event, he wanted the scientific community to start embracing this idea of artificial intelligence and start focusing their energies, all their knowledge, all the funding, all the energies to developing this AI thing. Because for him, he believed that this thing is going to be very, very, very powerful and very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That introduces a very interesting point.
Yeah.
We say AI has been in existence for quite a while now, and if you read literature, there are different eras in AI.
Yeah.
The way you're saying, someone was trying to attract the minds of scientists into researching or doing more in AI.
Yeah.
We also have the aspect of funding this research.
Yeah.
We have eras when governments are not interested. I think it's called the winter era.
We had to come to that point.
Where governments are not interested and they got to a point, they got interested in it. I don't know how it's looking like right now. I don't know if governments are interested in funding these programs or...
Okay, before we come to right now, let's first of all finalize with the past first. Yeah. So if you go back to that conference, which was like the turning, let's say like the actual turning point of this debate about AI, or this idea about AI. It was a heartbreak for McCarthy, because most of the scholars that he had invited to that conference seemed not interested with the idea, because it was a very ambitious idea. So it was something that most people were not privy to. So it seemed like something that was very extraordinary, out of touch with reality. Okay, I'm just putting those words there. Yeah, because they saw it to be a very complicated or sort of like impossible thing to do. So, but the good thing is that conference did inspire people. It did inspire people to start thinking about developing these artificial intelligent machines. So that inspiration started bringing attraction to from other scholars who started contributing now to that area. So younger people are starting now to say, okay, we can pursue this thing. We can try to see if it's possible. But now the challenge which was there was that during that time, the computers they were using, that's the era now when the computers are now being developed. They were very bulky computers and very expensive computers. And the luxury of using computers was just left to big learning institutions and big farms which could afford owning these computers. Because during that time, the 1950s, just renting a computer, in as much as it had a very low processing power.
This is the time we started the Industrial Revolution, right?
No, it was later. Industrial Revolution started way earlier. Yeah. This is later. This is now the revolution where, let's say, like where we're moving towards the atomic bombs. Now we have discovered about the atomic bombs. It's now past World War II. Yeah. So right now, in terms of power, US was owning all the power because they have developed the atomic bombs. But now technology now was the computers now was now where the people now trying to see if they can focus to bring something which is life changing.
I think the Soviet Union was also in that space.
The Soviet Union they came later. But the US was the one who the US was the first one to win this race, and the other countries came later. Yeah, they came later. Yeah. So as I was saying, the computers were very expensive. They were very expensive. I think they were costing around $200,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, to lease a computer.
To lease a computer.
A computer.
Not to acquire.
Not to own. To lease a computer.
Yeah,
because it was a very bulky machine.
So could it be considered as the supercomputers, the current supercomputers? Like if you are in that era, how we look at supercomputers right now?
Let me tell you something. In as much as it was very difficult to access that computer, it was a very weak computer. It was very weak. Weaker than the weakest phone you have.
So the mindset we had, I have seen photos of the memory itself.
Yeah.
The 128,
Yeah.
is it 128 gigabyte?
Yeah.
It's such a big thing.
Yeah.
Yet nowadays we just hold it in a very tiny memory card.
Exactly.
So I would imagine how it was like. But I was just trying to ask kids how people used to see computers by then. Would it be the same way you look at supercomputers right now? Because I know
with awe and amazement.
Yeah, with that amazement. Because currently, I think it's very countable number of institutions and governments that.
Or in terms of ownership and costs, I think that you can look at it the same way. But in terms of performance,
the performance
it was
is
very bad, and it was very bad to a point that if you're talking to somebody who has no knowledge about how a computer works, and then show them how it works, maybe they can't even be interested because it was slow. It cannot store information. But it was a very big milestone for mankind because for the first time now you have a machine that can do some things that you never imagined were possible. So, but the biggest challenge was the computer was very slow. So it's very slow and less powerful, less storage space. Yeah, I think they were working with the RAMs, which are KBs. Yeah. In speed.
I think we need to applaud the people who are doing coding or people who had an idea about coding at this era because I think they were more of processing everything in their heads rather than machines helping them.
Exactly.
Nowadays.
Yeah. So, and you know when a computer, the performance of a computer, the way it operates. It's being controlled by the chips. You know what I'm saying?
We're almost 4 minutes.
Okay, it's being controlled by those what we call the microchips. And during that time, the technology for developing microchips was not that good. So the microchips were very big, and they used to work very slow. So actually, we need to attribute the successes we have in AI to this microchip technology. Computing power is very important.
Right now, the conversion of chip packaging is really big. And only big brands are talking about it. And I'm aware that India is also putting its resources into kind of establishing industries that will help in chip packaging. I wish some African countries can take lead in this because it's going to be a big defining sector. If you're talking about technology and AI, chip packaging, you see, we're tracing back to 1950s. But it's still an issue right now.
Still an issue, a very big issue right now. Very big. Because you see, even right now, the country that produces the best chips in the world is Taiwan. And I don't know if I'm supposed to call it a country or part of China. You see,
that's politics. We're not going into that. China, please don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal. It's only that from where we are sitting here, it's very confusing. And you see, Taiwan is where everything the best chips are produced. So if Taiwan is destabilized, if Taiwan collapses, it's going to be we're going to have a winter, our technological winter in the entire world.
So that sounds like it will be a lucrative area because if you're only relying on a few countries, then perhaps we might compare it to oil. Just some few countries producing it, and they will have control over it.
Oil is better because it's few countries. But chips, okay, some other countries produce chips, but there is no country, or there's no other part in the world that produces chips that are as good as the one produced in Taiwan.
The best.
They're the best of the best. And you see, all these technologies that we're seeing in the development of AI, they get the chips from Taiwan.
Wow.
The Tesla autonomous cars, they get the chips from Taiwan. The nuclear missiles that you see that are being developed from Taiwan. So you see now, Taiwan is like a superpower in a way. It holds the world technological advancement just within its hands.
Is it because they have resources, or is it just good leadership, or what is it?
It's because they have been able to develop their technology for developing microchips. They have been able to advance it to a stage where it's very difficult to transfer what they have done to other countries.
Okay, for the sake of time and just to wind up today's conversation, and we're looking forward to more engagements in the subsequent weeks. We shall try our best to be sharing, to be having these conversations on a regular basis, so that we can share the insights that we think are important, and even reach out to those others who are doing the same, so that we can have a common goal to reach. So we were talking about some of the factors that have kind of in the past limited the development of AI until it has just exploded recently. Why now that things are looking like it's now the biggest thing, yet it's been in existence for long?
Yeah.
Maybe, Amos, if you have some knowledge on or information about where we started. We were talking about the foundation of AI.
Of AI, yeah.
And as of 1955 is when you're having significant progress in
the early stages of AI development.
in the academic sector, people publishing, someone publishing a conference paper on the same, or holding a conference on AI, and inviting other scholars and other scientists, just to attract more stakeholders into this field.
Yeah.
So what has been, you were talking about when McCarthy was organizing the conference in 1955.
Yeah.
Others were not interested in it. Other scientists were not interested in it.
Yeah. So what happened in that conference is that when these guests who were invited for the conference came to the conference, and they were being shown what is being done in that field, most of them were like, okay, like they didn't get it. Yeah. So you find that the conference was quite a hullabaloo, people moving up and down, disinterested. I don't know if disinterested is the correct word, but not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like not interested in the whole idea of artificial intelligence, and it was quite a disappointment for McCarthy. Yeah, but nonetheless, there were some other scholars who were interested in what he was presenting, and it's in them there was the desire to know more about AI and to contribute to that particular field was already ignited, and that period in the 1950s, the entire 1950s, at least the spark was burning, and now governments were trying to chip in the funding into these projects, to try and see if it's going to go somewhere. But as time went by, the progress was quite slow. It became slow. The conception of the idea was like very, very powerful. Then the idea started slowing down in the 90s.
So this is the period when they call the winter era.
The winter era. That's the winter period when now they are not making much progress, and some people became less interested. Other governments, like I believe also Japanese also were in that race also, and I believe in Japan they even had a very huge funding of around $400 million.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which they set aside to develop this technology, and then they are seeing very slow progress because there were two major limitations to the development of AI during that time. Number one was the power of the computers, the computing power of the computers. The chips were very, very slow during that time. So in as much as the knowledge was there and the desire to make AI work, there was a limitation of the fact that the computers are not very powerful to do multiple, let's say, numerous computations at the same time. So that one slowed the process, and people became disinterested because now it's not working. Yes, we have the material, the theory, but now where can we put it? We cannot put it into action. So it was a very big limitation. The other big limitation was now access to huge chunks of data.
Data, yes.
Yeah, data. There was no access because who was using computer that time?
Yeah. Paperwork.
It was mostly paperwork.
Entirely paperwork.
Exactly.
And then now that these factors, as we are all aware, they have kind of been addressed, or we are addressing them. Like if you look at chip packaging or chip manufacturing, it is a big conversation right now. The big brands are talking about chip packaging, chip manufacturing, and as you had highlighted, Taiwan is the biggest country, or
it's leading in
as we categorically stated, China, please forgive us. We're just talking about Taiwan as a country in this context, not going into politics of it. But if chip manufacturing and packaging is a big conversation, and currently we already have massive data. Everyone knows about big data, or if you're not aware of it, then you can check what big data is. There's so much data that is gathered, or we participate in gathering. Everyone participates in gathering of so much data. Every single minute, every single second.
Every user of any electronic device. Yeah, you're helping us in producing and generating data.
Generating massive data that can, as you can see, we have recommender systems where you order something online and similar products come in your newsfeed, because this data is being used to produce, or rather to make systems that can learn our daily purchasing behavior, all those. So we already have massive data, and to a large extent these are very accurate. They tell you exactly what you want to see. If you scroll your Instagram, you scroll your TikTok, you get to see videos and those images that you just love. You never stop scrolling, because that's exactly what you like. If you find yourself you're not interested in social media, perhaps you are realizing that you're addicted, or wrong images are being displayed. But what we see is everyone gets addicted, because they feed you what you need to see. Now this is an indication of very accurate data that is already available. Now we're talking about chip packaging. Maybe, I don't know if you have some idea about chip packaging. We talk about Taiwan, and we are aware that other companies and other countries are focusing on that, because it's the center of AI development.
So essentially microchip technology is the driving force of technological advancement, both in the 20th and in the 21st century. The limitation, as you have mentioned, was previously to the development of AI was the microchip technology. So it was expensive also during that time, and people who had access to computer were very limited. But as you advance forward, when they began to produce cheaper microchips and smaller,
and very tiny,
very small, tiny microchips, it was possible now to have these small computers which you can put in your house, which can be sold commercially to common people, and they can put in their house.
We can now carry around laptops.
We can carry right now, and you know these laptops that you're carrying right now, they are super powerful laptops. Because you see that phone that you usually despise, that's very small phone that you usually despise. The computing power of that phone is significantly higher than the computing power of the computer which was used to land the first man on the surface of moon.
On the moon.
So just imagine that. So imagine the amount of power that has been packed into these small devices. That power is the one which has been very, very beneficial in bettering this AI technology. Because you know, when you're talking about the AI technology, you're talking about models which run in the background, and these models perform numerous computations, and we want, as a human being, you usually want very quick answers. So for it to produce those responses very quickly, those computations have to be done in a fraction of a second. So we have to have very, very powerful.
Within microseconds, you have a command and it's giving you millions of answers.
Exactly. Very, very quickly. For that response to appear there are so many computations that have happened within a very small fraction of a time.
So we can already argue that the machines we produce are smarter than human beings.
Okay, if you're asking me, also I'll have two answers. First of all, I can say in the general sense, the machines can produce more information than an average human being. But also there's the issue of defining what is smarter. What is smart? Because machines, in as much as we have been able to develop this AI technology, there's one there's some aspects about intelligence that we are yet to to incorporate into this AI. Even defining the term intelligence, also is a tricky business. Because what do we define as intelligence? Do we define somebody who can just regurgitate information as intelligent? Or do we define somebody who is able to use whatever information they have to produce something new as intelligent?
And that's what some scholars call the Chinese room argument. The Chinese room argument says if there is a machine in a room and you feed it information and it uses some commands and tables to give results, can you say that machine understands Chinese?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Does it understand Chinese?
Or is it just
regurgitating information?
Yeah. So that's a very good point to put across.
Exactly. Because that's where now we have a problem being able to have a consensus on what you're calling as artificial intelligence. Yeah, because what us humans want, we want to have a machine that is able to, when it's facing the real life situations, it's able to tackle those situations in as much as they are recurring or they are new situations, because that's how we handle we work as humans.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you are in a place where, let's say, like in a jungle, you are lost in a desert, somewhere like there, and you have a spoon. A metal spoon. So that metal spoon can serve more purposes compared to you being in a house. Because in a house, you use that spoon for eating or for scooping things, food.
For tea, stirring tea.
Stirring tea, something like that one. But in a desert, you can use it for digging. You can use it for other purposes. You see, now, but that's something maybe somebody had never taught you to do.
Exactly.
But when you're in that circumstance, you figure out, like, I can use this thing for other purposes.
You can use it for multiple purposes beyond what I've been
trained to do,
or what I've been accustomed to use this.
Exactly. So that's the limitation of AI, because AI usually does what it has been trained to do. It cannot figure out to do how to do other things which it has not been trained to do.
So that maybe we can argue that's now the smart bit.
Yeah.
They're not smart enough.
They're not smart as of now. They're not smart enough, and that's why we have these two terms that you can find out there being discussed so much. So they say artificial intelligence, then they say artificial general intelligence.
General intelligence.
Yeah. So artificial general intelligence is the one now which actually defines what humans do. Yeah. So if you are able, sometimes it's also superhuman. So if you're able to bring artificial general intelligence into these computers, into these machines, then that's when now we can talk about a smart machine.
Smart machine.
Yeah, very intelligent.
Yeah. So now that if we go back to our conversation, we're seeing massive developments in chip technology, production. The main conversation is around packaging. Where are we headed to, or where are we if we start from where we are?
Yeah, so that's a very, very, very interesting question. I never thought we could ask such a question, but it was very, very interesting question, and I love that question because we are scared about AI right now. I know most people are scared about AI right now, but there is something bigger that you need to be scared of. Okay, not scared, you need to be concerned about. Something bigger, which is called what do you call this? We call it not supercomputers. What do you call this? That word has just disappeared all of a sudden, but it's just going to come back. The quantum computers. Sorry, the quantum computers. Yeah, quantum computing is what is going to have a larger impact to the world, the world economy, the life on this planet, compared to any other technology that has been discovered in the last, let's say, 500 years. Not 500 years, but 50 years, in the last half a century. Because we talk about nuclear bombs, nuclear technology, that was something that was very significant. Now, quantum computing is now going to be a major leap in humanity. Because now we'll be having computers, very tiny computers, which have significantly or astronomically more computing powers than all the supercomputers we have right now. Because right now, you mentioned about supercomputers, and that's something that we really marvel about when you see a supercomputer. Yeah, because it's able to do billions and billions of computations in seconds, in microseconds. Now we are going to have something that is a trillion times more powerful than
The
that.
supercomputers we have.
Than the supercomputers that we have. So just imagine how powerful that will be.
Yeah.
So the merge between quantum computing and AI is something that I cannot even comprehend right now. Because the progress of AI has always been limited by computing powers of these machines that we have. So if we significantly increase the computing powers, just imagine what is going to happen to AI. So that's what we expect to see in the future, because there are major leaps being made in quantum computing. Companies like Google and IBM, they've been able to develop their own quantum computers. These are just the early stages. So if they reach a point where they're going to commercialize this thing, that at that point, that's when you're going to realize how powerful this technology is going to be.
Yeah.
And when you bring together AI into that debate, it's going to be very, very significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, I think, brings us to maybe it will be our next conversation.
Yeah.
If things that we can't even comprehend, they are
Yeah.
in the process of making.
Yeah.
What should we now start looking to? As we've said, human beings are always thinking of a way to survive. I can't risk losing my job and just doing nothing.
Yeah.
I will die.
Yeah. True.
Or I will lose meaning of life,
Yeah.
because we tend to derive meaning of life in working.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to start looking into what will be the opportunities that are coming with this technology.
Yeah.
If we're talking of quantum computers, AI merging with AI, and maybe another innovation is coming up.
Yeah, there are many things coming up.
There are many things coming up,
Yeah.
because whoever thought of quantum computing in 1950?
Yeah, it was something that even never crossed people's
And
mind.
you see, this an era when our parents were just
Well,
young,
just- yeah.
young or being
Yeah.
born.
In a short period of time,
in a short period,
so many things
so much has happened.
Yeah.
So a child who was born in 2000,
Yeah.
right now there is not so much, because the amount of information that I can access in a minute
It's a lot.
is massive.
Yeah.
What are we looking into in 2040, in 2050?
Yeah. So the thing about technological revolution or technological development is that it has a lot of checks and balances.
Yeah.
And this is what makes it to move a bit slowly. It takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from my own perspective, from where I'm seated, I'm seeing a very different approach to things in the current world. Yeah, because if you just want to observe how development has been going on through the years, if you look at the changes that happened between, let's say, like the 1900 and 1990, the technological changes which happened during that time, they are, if you look in the grand scheme of things, when you compare it to what has happened after that, it was quite slow.
Very slow. Yeah.
Very slow. But right now, what is happening is that during that time, there were not very many players in the field of, let's say, knowledge, information, technology. There were not many players.
The technology itself was slow.
It was also constricted to very few people.
In the infant stage.
Yeah. Right now, technology, it's advanced. And so many people have access to it. Yeah, like right now when you're seated here, there's somebody somewhere, just from their own initiative, they are doing something very incredible in their houses using computers right now. A common person, not somebody who has been constructed by a big company or not, just as a common person, maybe they're doing something very significant with the computer which they're having. So this power that comes with these devices has been decentralized to almost everybody. And this changes the speed of development.
Yeah.
It was now sort of like linear, but right now it's sort of like exponential. It's very exponential. So you might be seated here and say, okay, technology has been developing so slow over the time, so we should not worry, it's going to take time. You know, when US is developing the quantum computer, what do you think China is doing? Do you think they're just waiting for US to develop the quantum?
What about Russia?
What about Russia?
They are the enemy. So
Yeah, because they want to be the first ones.
Yeah.
So what is happening there is very much faster. Because I saw something the other day, last year, about these about these hydrogen bombs or hydrogen this nuclear fusion development.
Yeah, the technology that will be used to bring sun to the
sun to the earth. Yeah,
to the Mars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see that US all of a sudden they started announcing that they've been able to have a net positive positive energy, maybe in creating a simple nuclear plant which uses nuclear fusion. You see, like, why did they announce that? Yeah, why did they invest their time in that? It's because China is also doing the same.
China's doing the same. Yeah.
So there's a competition. So this competition is going to make the pace of technological development to go so rapidly than we can catch up.